Hi Victoria, I genuinely welcome you in Vaman Matters YouTube channel. It is a very great day of the year, the starting itself that you are giving the interview, and I hope that I will make justice with your time, including of the people who are going to watch this interview. I will try my best that the interview will be very much genuine so that people know you. How is Victoria and how Victoria made so many things possible till now, making such a big budget film known as the Patisty Experiment. I hope if I am not wrong with the pronunciation of the word. To begin, how this thought came into your mind of going with this story, because there are many filmmakers in Romania and Europe itself who have witnessed this horror of communist era. Why didn't they felt that they should make this movie, and why you only felt that you must go with the movie even though there are so many movie makers that can make this movie? You had this fear anywhere that before I do the movie, if anyone makes this movie, then there will be no that much worthy to make this movie. You had any fear?
Um, I chose to treat this topic into a feature film because I consider it's very useful for us as a new generation, the youth generation, to know the past, to learn from it, and to avoid to repeat it. If I had the fears, what can I say? Of course, there were many, but in every project, there is a challenge, right? And I started with this in my mind, and I keep doing it.
When you got introduced to this story and you felt that this is the best story, and after feeling that, how you made sure that there will be a good plot line, because any regime's horror or any big event has many plot lines in reality. If there are many individual story in that, how you choose that real and genuine plot where there will be a true antagonist and true protagonist, how you made all that possible?
Again, I think this topic, which was not treated before in a feature film, it's important to be visible for us all, and it's a very hard and harsh topic to be treated, even in a feature film and in historical books and so on and so forth. It's difficult to talk about this. There are still survivors. We can interview, and it's really painful, and it was painful for me to dig into this topic, to find the survivors, to talk with them, or to talk with the survivors relatives, the relatives of the survivors. And the main protagonists, you mean the actors, or the stories I got inspiration from? What do you mean through protagonists?
The protagonist I mean here is that there might, like in many movies there are four or five main lead people, and there is one or two who are villains who don't want something to go good with the other party's agenda. Were these real people, or you fictionalized somewhere and you created this?
So your question is if my actors are professional actors, where I took them from real life. This is the question.
Okay. No. My question is that what I mean to ask is that if any historical event take place, for example, if any war take place in Europe, in that war there will be many soldiers who participated in the war.
Yes.
Did you created any such fictional story in that where the protagonist personal story is from the real incident, or you put some reality out of reality things on that protagonist I am talking?
Fully understood now. Thank you. Uh, 100 percentage of the content in my feature film, it's pure reality. It was not necessary to invent anything just because the footage archive I've consulted, the testimonies from the survivors, the books treating this topic, altogether the communism archives in Romania I consulted, all of them gave me enough information to construct a plot for my movie. There is nothing invented, unfortunately, because when you are a filmmaker, you want to come with your added value as a director or any other part of the team. But in our situation, we just respected the information from the archives and the information from the testimonies. Nothing was invented, but you will see after the movie will be released that with those events, it's still harsh, painful, and very difficult to put into image.
Every movie has its own aspect which is very much essential, called as production design. How
Yes.
we keep the real setting of the situation that happened 100 years before or 1,000 of years before. How you manage to keep the real setting and authentic setting. How you made that possible.
So my story happens in 1940s in Romania, and what I did was to consult with historians and find out locations in my country according to the time where this event happened. So basically, I was filming in museums. I was filming in two former prisons where actually um, people used to be imprisoned because of the communism inconveniences, let's say. And yeah, imagine us as youth to be there and to reproduce what actually happened um, between 1948 to 1952. It was um, difficult even for us, but we managed to do it. We have like 44 authentic locations. We also filmed in Romanian villages and in authentic traditional Romanian houses, traditional Romanian um, uh, how can I say spots which will give you an idea about what does it mean our beautiful ethnological piece of how can I put it um, piece of beauty, our ethnological piece of beauty. Yeah, so you will see this in my movie. A part of the atrocious moment happened in the Pitești experiment. We have some beautiful moments showing the beautiful life in the interwar time in Romania.
You mentioned that you have filmed the many most of the parts of the movie on real locations. When we
Yes,
go for real locations like a museum or a prison, the
yes,
prisons where
yes.
you shot itself, were you required to pay any money as a fee for taking permission? How you took the permissions? We
Uh,
want to know that.
Right. Well, this is according to the agreement you establish with the owner of the place, right? So in some places I paid, some places we agreed to cover, for example, in a museum to cover the tickets that the people will consume one day. We made an estimation, for example, and we covered that. And for some houses, traditional houses in Romania, we discussed with the owners and we gave them very, very symbolic um, honorary, let's say. So it was fully according to the agreement was established beforehand, and they took account of the fact that we are independent and we have no budget for this. So they helped as much as possible, all of them, and I'm very grateful for this. Otherwise, this movie would not be able to take place.
And I admire those people who showed empathy to you, especially the people who mentioned you right now. Going ahead, how you managed to bring the best people on board for a film on such a big topic? How you did all the things? I want to know the story.
When I started this project, I was a student in United Kingdom, so I actually didn't know the uh, people working in the cinematic area in Romania. So what I did was to write a press release and send it to mass media in Romania. This is how people heard about my initiative, and they contacted me personally, and this is how I made the team. We are, I would say, all of us, most of us, very young, between 20s and 35. Well, we started at this age. Now it's 4 years after, so probably we're even older. But my point is, we were young, most of us at the first or second or third movie. And I wanted to point out that all of them came because they liked the project in terms of the usage of this topic. It's a very important topic to be shown, but also they knew from the start they have to be paid. So my duty as a film producer is to pay my entire team. The inconvenience is started when we re- we realized we don't have the support from anybody and we are on our own. So basically, we started with a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, and we raised so little, um, then we could not afford to pay ourselves. This was actually the problem, and that's why my team is not yet paid because we could not afford that. So basically, my colleagues were fully entitled and devoted to start a project, and we decided to go on and invest as much as possible in the project, and then to see if we can remunerate ourselves, maybe from sales, and I do hope for that so much actually. Basically, and I want to make this clear, nobody should work for free. We did it because we had no other choice, and because the project was really important for the culture, for the history, for us as Romanians. And that's why we accepted this challenge and this huge risk, actually. All my team, my crew members and the actors. And of course, for me, they are the best, yeah, we are young and we have to prove ourselves.
Talking about the people who were involved with you in the project, one more thing I want to ask is that how they got so much emotionally attached to your project if they came to know at a point of time that they will not be paid, because not every person never works for free. From an emotional point of view, that might be empowering them, your project, emotionally, for them in the future, that they have participated in a good historical movie based project. How they were stayed with you for such a long period of time? I want to know their thought process, what you experienced with them.
Yeah, I would start saying that they didn't stay for free and they should be paid. So to have this mindset, we can continue the conversation. Um, and as I said, as we involved in the project, they saw the usage of this movie and how important is that this topic is revealed and made known for the large public. Basically, we became a family, and this project is not only mine, I came with the idea, but it's our project nowadays. We all put effort, we make sacrifices, we invest time, we invest money, we invest resources. Yeah, everybody did that. And I think they were involving that much because they were believing in this project, as I do believe. And they still believe and they still contact me and ask me, hey, Victoria. when will we meet for the premiere? We are very connected, and we were, as I said, all young, all keen to involve, all keen to do our best to make this project happen. It is the first feature film about the Pitești experiment. A very sad story happened between 1948 to 1952, when the best students in Romania were encouraged to become member of the party and embrace the communist doctrine, right? And those who refused, they were re-educated. And this re-education was actually a mental and physical torture between the inmates. And what happened there didn't happen anywhere else. These atrocious moments were here in my country, and people need to know about bad moments in the history so we learn from them and avoid them in the future. Because there's so much information about many parts of dark moments in the history. I would mention here the Holocaust. And it's so important to know what happened and to avoid this ever. Um, so if we know about Holocaust, we have to know about the bad events happening in communism too, because there were so many and lots of people died in very bad ways of being tortured mentally and physically, like you would not even be able to imagine. And my movie is showing a little part of what happened in communism in the bad side, because there were many good sides in communism, and people I talked to in Romania, they showed me that hey, it was good because we had houses, because we had a job, because we had a purpose in life. We actually, you after you would finish your college or high school or your qualification, you would go to a place and start working. You would have a house and so on and so forth. So it was a sort of order in the society. So many people like that. But you didn't have freedom. You could not travel abroad without their consent. You would not be allowed to keep in contact with people from abroad. You would not be allowed to receive letters from abroad. You would not be allowed to listen to European televisions or European radio news. You would not be allowed to read international news. You would not be allowed to read books from other countries. For example, people who would frequently go to the French library or English library, they would go to prison because it was interpreted that they want to sell the country in a way or another to give information through that library. Yeah, so it was really, really bad from many, many ways. So people need to know both sides, and that's why I'm making the movie, to give a little bit of idea of the reality of what communism was.